This right here is a standalone device that you can use to play your backing tracks without a laptop or a tablet. You can see you have 6 different outputs here on the top for multiple different outputs for your tracks. You have a headphone out for sending like the click track to your drummer. You have a MIDI out for controlling pieces of gear that sync up with your backing tracks. You have a MIDI in for controlling the device, and you can organize your songs in different set lists and stuff like that. This is the P1 by Idoru. I hope I'm saying that right. And it's a pretty cool way to play your backing tracks from a pedal. So instead of having to have a laptop or tablet, you can control your backing tracks from a pedal. In this video, I'm basically going to go over all the features, setup, how to control it, and stuff like that, so you can see if this is something that's right for you and your backing track needs. Many thanks to Idoru for sending this over for me to check out. This is not a sponsored video or a paid video or anything like that. They just sent it over for me to check out, and all the opinions in this video are my own. I do just want to say also that this is not a video about creating backing tracks. I'm assuming at this point you have backing tracks and you're looking for a way to play them live. If you want help on creating backing tracks, I have a whole separate video on that. So check out that video if that's what you're interested in. So don't forget to subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and let's go ahead and get started. So when you first get the device and power it on, it's going to tell you to insert the SD card. Now they do include one with it, which is very nice. It is 32 gigs. You might need more depending on how many files you end up putting in here. But you can put this in here on the side in the SD slot. It is a tiny bit finicky in order to get it in, at least with mine, but it does go in. And you might see this when you first load it up because you have nothing on the SD card right now. So you're going to want to connect it to your computer. The best way to do this is to connect via the USB out on the top of the device. And you're going to want to download the Idoru P1 software. I will link to where you want to download this from down below in the description. Now, when you first load up the software, it's going to look like this. In the future, if you want to import from what you've put on the P1, you would click this button. But for right now, we're going to click Create New Session. And it's also going to be blank right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a set list. So I actually like to do this kind of just all at once. I like doing all of the sets and tracks that I'm going to be doing. So let's just call this first one set 1, create another set list, call it set 2, and create another set list and call it set 3. And of course, you can always delete a set list over here as well. So for the sake of this demo, I'm just going to have 2 different set lists. Now in each of the 2 different set lists, there's going to be different songs. I'm going to click this drop down arrow over here, and I'm going to say create song. So I'm going to call this one Ocean Avenue. Let's do another song for No Diggity. Let's create another song, PYT, and create one more song. And just FYI, if you accidentally double click it and it brings you into this menu right here, you still can change the name of the song up here in the upper left. I'm going to name it Waterfalls. You can also rename the set list as well if you wanted to. But I'm going to hit done. And you can see that I have 4 different songs in set 1. That should be enough just for this demo. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the files imported. So let's go to PYT, and I'm going to click this little mixer button over here on the right. So this can be a little bit confusing when you first get it, but it's not that bad. So the first thing you want to do is you want to import your files into here. So you can see you have the 6 slots that you can import WAV files in. Do note that it only can accept 16-bit WAV files. As of the time of shooting, it only can accept those. So an easy way just to be organized is I like to give them the names, so you can go through on all of these 6 inputs and give them a name. So for this demo, and this is kind of the way that I do my tracks, is we have drums, bass for number 2, 3 is tracks, which is basically everything else. 4 is guitar. 5 is going to be the click track. And then 6 is going to be cues. So like verse 1, ready, go, and stuff like that. So now you can see that you have them named. You don't have to do this. It's just a way to kind of keep them organized. But now what I'm going to do is I can either click the drum section and click add a WAV file and import it that way. Or you can also just drag and drop them in. So I have my files set up over here that I set up for this demo. So I have the PYT drums, and I'm going to drag them and just drop them into the drum slot. Next, I have the bass. I'm going to drag and drop that into the bass slot, tracks into tracks, guitar into guitar, click into click, and cues into the cues. So you get 6 different files, and these could be whatever you personally use for your backing tracks. You could have one for synth, backing vocals, keys, violin, click. This is just the way that I do them personally. So now, once they are dragged in, now you have to route them out the correct outputs. So you can see right now I'm on output 1. This is the physical output 1 of the Idoru. Because remember, you have 6 different outputs. So I could just route all 6 of these stems out output 1. Be a little goofy to do that with clicking cues, but you can output multiple things out one output if you want. However, for this demo, what I'm going to do is I'm going to utilize multi-tracking, and I'm going to route each one of these out its own output. So on output 1, I'm only going to enable the drums. I only want the drums to go out output 1. Output 2, I'm going to set just to the bass. 3, I'm going to set just to tracks. 4 just to guitar, 5 just to click, and 6 just to cues. But again, you can also combine these if you would like. So for example, if output 6, I want to route click and cues together, I can do that. And then 5 would be something else. My drummer personally just likes the click track really, really loud and the cues not as loud. So that's why we separate them. So I'm going to put that back to where it was. You also do have this headphone out. So the Idoru has a headphone out as well. What would you like to come out the headphone out? If this is like just something for your drummer, you can route out just the click and just the cues out the headphone out as well. So that's really nice, especially for like a drummer. And you also do have this aux input as well if you want to route that out of the headphone out as well. I personally just wouldn't really use the aux input, so I'm just going to leave that off. Also, everything I did so far was in mono. If you do need to stereo link your files as well, you go up here and you can click this stereo link button, and now 1 and 2 are now a stereo output. So if you want stereo tracks, that's how you're going to want to do this. However, I personally do my tracks in mono, so I'm going to set that back just to the way that I had it. So you get either 6 mono outputs or 3 stereo outputs. Now also I can adjust the level of those stems as well. So if the drums are too loud, I can bring the drums down or turn them up. Let's say on the tracks, I want those to come down just a little bit. I can do that as well. And you also have just a master level adjust for the entire song and all of the tracks, and that's done over here. You also have a master level adjust for the entire set list as well right here, which is also very nice. So now the levels are set properly and the routing is done properly. I'm going to hit done. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the exact same thing for the next song for Ocean Avenue. You do want to make sure that you drag the correct ones in the same order. So drums will be in this first slot, bass in this second slot, tracks in this third one. There's no guitars in the backing tracks for this one. So just click into 5 and then cues into 6. I'm going to repeat the exact same process that I just did. Routing the drums out output 1, bass out 2, tracks for 3, and so on and so forth. And again, you do have to name it each time. I do wish there was a way to just master name the outputs so that you always remember, hey, put the drums in output 1, put the bass in output 2, and so on and so forth. But again, you're just going to repeat this process for all the songs that you have. So now you can see that I have 2 different sets with 6 songs each in them. For this demo, I just imported stems for the first 4, but you should get the general idea. So you are able to drag and reorder this if you want. So I can click up here and drag and put Ocean Avenue as second and move everything around if I would like to. And also just a couple more things that you can do in the songs. Let's go back into the mixer mode. Up here, the BPM, you can set that. This isn't going to time stretch it or anything, but there's one reason why you might want to have the BPM. I personally won't be using it, but I'll show you that here in a little bit. You do have this at the end of the song. You want to play the next, cue the next song, or loop the song. So if you have play next, it will automatically start the next song when this song is done. And if you set it to cue next, that means that you have to wait until you push the play button in order to start the next song. So I could set this one to play next, and then go to Waterfalls, set that one to play next, and then go to No Diggity, but set that one to cue next, because after that song's over, before PYT, the singer is going to talk to the crowd or something like that, and we don't want to automatically go into that next song. And then one final thing, you can attach a MIDI file to this, because remember, you can control your external gear with MIDI. So this is the way that I've done this, is I have a MIDI file here in Logic, and I've programmed different program changes and control changes that can control my HX stomp. All that information you can see over here. This is the way that I do it in Logic. You can actually just right click, click export, and selection as a MIDI file. And I'm going to save this as a MIDI file. If you need help on programming MIDI and you're not familiar with it, I do have a video walking you through that. And I also have a video showing you how to control your HX stomp and Helix and devices like that with MIDI as well. But as long as I have a .mid file, that's what I need. So I'm going to add in this file that I've exported. It's just a testing.midi file here. And also, if I'm happy with all of this, I can also save this session. I can hit save. I could call this something like, band set October 10th or something like that. And you could save the session. It did give me this error saving session, but it did save, so I'm not sure what that is. But it did save it. So now what I can do is I can delete everything. I'll just delete everything off of here. But if I ever want to load that session up again, I can hit load a new session, find that session that I saved, and now everything is back to the way that I saved it, which is pretty cool. So once I'm happy with everything, I'm going to hit send session to the P1. And then you do have to choose where your SD card is connected to. When you first get it, it'll say no name. You can rename that, of course. So I'm going to go to that hard drive and then click send session. And it'll send it to the Idoru. It could take a minute depending on how many files you're doing. But once everything is done, it'll say file transfer complete. So now that everything is on here, let's show you how to use it. So you have the play button right here. You can see that it is playing. Push it again to pause it if you need to pause it, and then hold it to start the song over. You can choose the next song by pushing this button right here. So if I wanted to go to No Diggity and push play, I can. And you can also go back with this button right here. Do note that you can go back and queue up a song while the song is playing, which is nice. These three buttons right here do the exact same thing that the 3 foot switches down here do. These literally do the exact same thing. On the display screen, you can see the name of your set, what song you are on. So this is song 4 out of 6, the name of the song, the length of the song, and that BPM that we saved earlier. I'll show you what that BPM does here in just a second because it's under this setting right here. So this white knob, you can click it and you can go and choose a few different things in here. Browse set list. So I'm going to load set list 2. So now set list 2 is loaded and I can choose which song I want in set 2. But let me go ahead and go back to set list 1. So I can also go in here and I can go to edit song. So I can adjust the level of the song if I need to adjust that. I can also change at the end of the song, do I want to play next? Do I want to cue next? Or do I want to loop it? So I don't need the software to do that. Once the files are on here, I can change that around, which is pretty nice. And I can also change this BPM. And this button right here is the exit button. So I'm going to get out of it and I'm going to save the changes. Going down here to settings, you have a few contrast and brightness settings you can do. This is the whole reason right here why you set the BPM is the metronome flash on or off. So if I set that to on, you can see when I go out here, you'll see that the metronome will flash to the tempo. But if I load another song at 120, it's going to blink a little bit less. So if you want a visual metronome of the tempo that the song is going to be at, you can have that. You can also turn on MIDI through and the MIDI clock as well if you plan to use those features. I honestly have no idea what control system is, and there was nothing in the support section that I could find. Now up here in the upper right, you have this button right here. If you push that, now you can edit the mixer of the song. So I can choose one of the 6 different files that I have in here, push in on the encoder, and then I can start making changes. So if the drums are mixed too loud, I can bring down the drums or bring up the drums. So that is really nice. Again, you don't need the software and you can make the adjustments here. Go to the headphone out and start making adjustments. I'm going to hit exit and then save changes. If you do want to scrub forward on a song, you would hold the fast forward button. Although there is a glitch, it does seem like the first song in the set list, it doesn't seem to work. I'm not sure what that is, but it's not working for this first one. But if I go to the second song, go to Waterfalls, and if I hold the fast forward button, you can see that it fast forwards. And hold rewind and it'll rewind. But on the first one, it won't do that. I'm not sure what that is. I don't see myself really starting in the middle of a song with backing tracks anyways, but the option is there. Here's just a demo of the multi-track outputs. So I'll start on output 6 because that has my cues because that doesn't go throughout the whole song. But you can see as I switch to different ports, you'll hear different instruments. PYT, guitar, hi-hat, ready, go. Pretty cool that you can do multi-track outputs with this thing. Here's a demo of how the MIDI works. So you can see I have the MIDI out of the Idoru connected to the MIDI in on my HX Stomp right here. Remember, I imported that MIDI file into the Ocean Avenue track. And what you're going to see is it's going to change my patch, and then it's going to turn on the first button, turn on the second button, and turn on the third button. In order to see that, I'm probably going to have to turn my lights off and make it this super moody color so that you can see. When I push play, it changes the preset. Button 1, button 2, and button 3. So you can control your external gear with MIDI to sync up with your backing tracks. So it's very nice to not have to worry about pedal dancing or anything like that. If you're playing to backing tracks, you know when your solo is going to kick in and when you need to go to a clean patch for the verse and stuff like that. Very, very helpful if you've never done that. It's super convenient. If you do need to connect multiple devices with MIDI, I do recommend this guy. This is the WIDI through 6 BT by CME Pro. I do have a video on this. It is 1 physical input and 5 MIDI outputs. Of course, you could always daisy chain as well if you need to do that, but this one is a pretty cool device if you need to connect to multiple ones. And last but not least, you also can connect a MIDI controller to the Idoru and control it that way. So you can see with this one, I am connected to the MIDI in of the Idoru, and I'm coming out of the Luminite Graviton M2 controller. This is one of my favorite MIDI controllers I've ever reviewed. You can check out my video on that as well. A really cool device. And you can see on the screen, these are the MIDI commands that you need to send in order to control the Idoru. Again, if that doesn't make any sense to you, you do need to watch my MIDI video. This isn't a video about MIDI specifically, but I have other ones on my channel. But you can see right now I'm on setlist 2. If I push this button, this one is going to change the set list. So it's going to change through the set lists. Push this button right here, it'll load the next song. Push this button right here, it'll load the previous song. This one will play and pause. But again, you get more controls over this. Look at this chart if you need to see what commands the Idoru can accept with MIDI. Very nice that you can control it with MIDI as well. And that's pretty much everything. So the price of this product, as of time of shooting, I've seen it fluctuate somewhere between $500 and $600 on their website or even on Thomann and stuff like that. I'll have links down below if you want to check it out for yourself. I've done enough gear reviews on my channel that some people are going to say that's way too high priced, and other people are going to say this is perfect for what I need. Make the decision that's right for you and your needs. If you do decide that this is right for you, I will have links down below so you can check this out more. So as far as my opinion of it, it's a pretty cool product. It's nice to not have to worry about a laptop or a tablet live. It's nice that you can have it at your feet. As a guitar player, that's really nice to be able to trigger backing tracks from your feet. This is a new product, so in the future, you might have some new firmware updates and stuff like that. As I was trying it out, I only had like those two like little minor glitches, but none of those were serious glitches that were like showstoppers or anything like that. Some things that I've noticed that I would like to see in the future with future firmware updates. I'd like to see what song is playing next. So while the song is playing right now, it would be nice if it said next song is Waterfalls or something like that. And it would be nice if it said like it's going to play or pause. That would be nice while the song is playing to let you know how it's going to transition into the next song. That'd be really nice. I would like to see multiple files supported, not just 16-bit WAV. I personally am in the camp of 320 MP3 files because they are much smaller. I don't know if that's like a processing thing that it can't handle. I would like to see other file types supported in the future if that's possible. And I'll tell you why here in a minute. Being able to shift the pitch or even the time, even if it's not the time, but even just being able to pitch shift, you know, up or down a semitone or a whole step or something like that can be really helpful as well. And I really wish that you could edit the set list from the device itself. So if you're at the show and you're like, oh, I'm going to let's change this around a little bit, you can just tweak that. And I think that one would be pretty easy to do in a new firmware update. So if you've seen my channel before, you know I almost always test out my gear before I do a video on it. The thing about this one and why I haven't really been able to do that is that one, I have about 395 songs with backing tracks now, and they all have 5 stems at least. Some of them have 6, but they at least have 5 different files, and all of them are 320 MP3 files. So it would take me forever to convert those over to WAV files. That is why I wish it accepted other formats. The other thing is when I perform live with my cover bands, we almost always change the set list live. My band 90% 90s, we basically go in, we'll say, oh, let's start with these 5 songs, see how people react, and then we just kind of make up the set list as we go based on how people are responding. We have about 200 songs that we do, and we just feel out the crowd. That would be pretty tough to do on a device like this. If you're changing up the set list a lot like we do, I don't know if this would be right for you. But I know that's a lot more rare. More people go in with a set list than just kind of feeling it out. Because of those 2 reasons, I personally think this product is not right for me. However, my goal with all my videos is to see if something is right for you. I go into detail, and you can make the decision if it's something that is right for you or not. So because the product is not right for me, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to do a giveaway to one of my subscribers. I'm in a very fortunate situation that I can try out all this new gear, and if it's something that doesn't fit for me, I'd rather have it go to a good home, and I'm grateful for all my subscribers and how much the channel has grown, so I'd rather give back to you guys. In order to win 2 things, first of all, this is for subscribers, so if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, and the second, you have to leave a comment down below, and you have to use the magic phrase. You can say whatever you want down in the comment section, just as long as at some point you say the magic phrase, Donkey Kong Country. That's the magic phrase for this week. You only have 24 hours to enter the giveaway, and I will announce the winner on this date right here. Please remember, do not respond to scammers. I will never ask you for money, ever, period. Never for shipping or anything like that. Scammers sometimes show up when I do giveaways. Please do not respond to scammers. So thank you guys again for watching. If you found the video helpful, do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button. Again, many thanks to Idoru for sending this over for me to check out. Check out my video on how to create backing tracks. Even if you already have created backing tracks, I go into a lot of detail in my thought process of how I create backing tracks. And if you are in a situation that you need more outputs for your backing tracks but are looking for a standalone device, check out the video I just did recently on the B-Beat Pro. That one also has an option for lyrics, teleprompter, and a video wall as well. So you can check out both of those videos by clicking the links on your screen now. Thank you guys again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you have any other cool gear you want me to check out. One of my subscribers actually was the one to set up this review for me, so thank you again for that. Thank you guys again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.